you ready to supercharge your productivity? Today we'll uncover the game-changing habits that will skyrocket your efficiency and productivity. My name is Rachel, and today I'm going to share with you 3 proven habits that will help you increase your productivity. Now, I've experimented with them over the last couple of months, so I can assure you that they do indeed work. Before we jump into these 3 habits though, I would love to know what habits you are already implementing that make you more efficient or more productive in the run of a day. I love experimenting with new ideas, new methods, new habits, so I'd love for you to let me know what your best method is, and then I might give it a try myself. Now, the 3 habits that I'm going to bring to you today are really more focused on work productivity. Of course, you can use these for being productive and efficient around the house or in your daily routines, but the biggest focus where you're going to notice the most success is going to be if you implement these in your work day or work schedule or workplace habits. So let's jump right into habit number 1, which is choosing your own space. So I want you to think about your workspace exactly like that. It's your workspace, not your workplace. So we all have a place that we work, but where we can get most of our productivity and efficiency is when we focus on our workspace. So it's important that you set up your workspace so that it is inviting, that it is clean, and that it is a place where you can actually get some productive work done. But what does that actually look like? What do I even mean by that? Of course, anyone is going to tell you that if you have a table or a space, you want to make sure that it is clean and that you want to make sure that it's not overwhelming, that you don't have papers piling up. While that is all true, that's not really what I'm talking about when I'm bringing you this first method of workspace. What I want you to think about is setting up a workspace, yes, that's inviting and not overwhelming, but that is the place that you go to do your work. Let me explain. If possible, you want this space to be where you don't have to worry about others coming into your space. Ideally, this space would be a room with a door, but it isn't necessary. The key to this habit of setting up your workspace is this. Only enter your workspace when you plan to work. Let me say that again. Only enter your workspace when you plan to work. If you can manage this, your brain begins to form a habit of subconsciously understanding that when you enter this space, it is time to get into work mode. And when it's time to get into work mode, this is where you're going to get things done. I know, you might be asking, especially if you're working from home, what if I don't have that kind of space? But all is not lost. Even if you can have some sort of desk, table, or chair, and a little space that you can devote, even if it's just off in the corner of a room, once you begin the habit of only sitting down in that chair at the time that you're ready to do work, you can make this space work to your advantage. And you're only sitting in that space when it's time for you to work, which means you don't sit on your bed to work, you don't sit on the couch, you don't sit at the kitchen table, you don't just find a quick space. I've done all of that. I've done all of that before, and I promise you, you will be the most efficient, effective, and productive when you find a space that is a constant but is only meant for work. Your bedroom is meant for you to go to sleep in. Your couch is the place where you have conversation. You're watching TV, you're scrolling social media. Your kitchen table is where you eat. So these other places have other functions. If the only function to your workspace is work, you create that subconscious habit within your brain that turns into work mode. And that's exactly what you're looking for if you want to be more productive and you want to get more efficient. Habit number 2 to increase your productivity is stop multitasking. No, you're not good at multitasking. No, you can't do 2 things well at once. No, you have not discovered that you are better when you're multitasking, that you're more effective or more productive when you're multitasking. That is just a lie that we tell ourselves so that we can feel good about doing 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 things at once because our life is so busy. Okay, can you do a couple of things at a time? Sure, we all can. We can all chew gum and walk at the same time. Maybe you can talk on the phone and do laundry at the same time, but you are not an efficient multitasker. And here's why. Let's define multitasking first. Okay, multitasking means trying to do 2 tasks at the same time, which typically leads to repeatedly switching between the 2 tasks or leaving one task to do another. In many researches done, it has been consistently found that individuals almost always take longer to complete a task and with many more errors when trying to do two tasks at the same time, as opposed to doing one task, completing it, doing the next task, completing it. Time and time again, this has been proven. A study at the University of Michigan showed that multitaskers actually take more time to complete the two tasks when trying to complete them together at the same time. And according to the American Psychology Association, doing more than one task at a time, especially more than one complex task, takes a toll on productivity, which is exactly the opposite of what we're trying to do here. Many people think that they are good multitaskers, but don't let yourself be fooled. Just because you can do more than one task at one time does not mean that you are focused completely on more than one task at one time. Our brains cannot handle a 100% focus on more than one thing at a time. So multitasking comes at the expense of not focusing our complete attention on one task. So in the end, it means that we are less efficient at both tasks. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. We have all decided one day that we're going to clean, let's say, the kitchen. And you find something in the kitchen that doesn't belong there and you take it to another room, only to get to that room to discover that something is out of place and then you need to go somewhere else, or that there's a mess in that room and so you're just going to clean that. We've all done that before. That is multitasking. You come back in the end, a half hour, an hour, 2 hours later to the place that you began, and it doesn't look any better than when you first started. So nothing gets done completely, effectively, with any real productivity, but a whole bunch of things, all kinds of things get done in little segments, but no one task gets done to completion or with effective productivity. And when we're talking about trying to be more productive, we don't want to leave space for mediocrity. We want to be good, we want to be efficient at the tasks at hand, especially when we're talking about work tasks. Now on to habit number 3 for increased productivity, which is a nice springboard from habit number 2, is the 6 most important things list. And I love this one. So the first thing that you're going to do is write down the 6 most important things that you need to get done in your workday or your work block time. Now these are non-negotiables. These are the items that when they're on your list, you're going to focus on them from beginning to end, because they are the most important things that you need to get done in your workday. Now the method around this habit has been in place for a while, and there is another video that I've created that when it gets published, you will get notified if you are a subscriber. But right now I'm just going to give you the nitty-gritty so that you can get this habit started. If you're more interested in the background of it and where it came from, the history of it, and exactly the best method for implementing this habit, I will link the video once it is published. But until then, again, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. All right, so I have to be honest though, in my experimentation of this, over the last about 6 weeks or so, I've actually narrowed the 6 most important things list down to the 3 most important things list, and here's why. I have a day job where I do not use the most important things list. I have my kind of little side hustle where I only have a small amount of time to devote each day. So to have a list of 6 doesn't really work for me, and I was feeling frustrated. So for myself, I changed it to 3 because that was a lot more doable. It really doesn't matter how many are on the list, but you'll find what works best for you. So you can either make your list the night before or the day of. I suggest making it before you sit down to get started with your workday, because once you have the list created, you don't have to think about it. So if you get that list done the night before, you don't have to spend any time trying to create it or think about what's important today. Once you sit down to work, you can actually optimize the time that you have to be the most productive. Your job is on this important list, you are going to mark down the 6 things that are non-negotiables to get done before anything else that day. So whatever is on your list, you are going to start from the top, and once you're finished, you'll strike it out, you'll highlight it, whatever works best for you, and then you'll move on to the next one, and then you'll move on to the next one, and then you move on to the next one. But what happens if you don't finish them? Great question. Whatever ones don't get finished, go on your list for the next day. Because if they were important enough to be on the list today and they didn't get completed, then they've got to go to the top of the list for tomorrow. Implementing this habit will increase your productivity tenfold. This is probably the one habit that has helped me maintain a consistent level of efficiency and productivity over these last 6 weeks. I highly recommend, if you only choose one of these habits, that this is the one that you choose. But here's the thing, you've got to be consistent. But I promise you, now that I've committed to working in a workspace, now that I've committed to multitasking no more, now that I have committed to my most important things list, my productivity and efficiency has increased dramatically. I feel so much more organized every day when I come down to my workspace. I know exactly what I'm going to do. I only wish I had discovered all of these habits much earlier. But now that you know them, you can implement them. And I promise you, if you put these 3 habits into place right now, in 6 to 8 weeks, you're going to notice a complete difference in your efficiency and productivity. And I can't wait to hear all about it. As always, if you found anything in this video valuable or inspiring, please give me a thumbs up. It lets me know that you're enjoying this content. And until next time, remember, trust your own journey.